Intro to Solving Equations, 1-6. This isn't Intro to Solving Equations from Algebra 1. This is Intro to Solving Equations for Algebra 2. So it'll be a refresher of the back end of Algebra 1 in terms of equations. And then later on we'll move on from there. Here's some examples. You should remember how to solve equations with a variable on both sides. When you have the variable on both sides, your goal is to have the variables on the left. Whatever is already on the left stays on the left. But what's on the right must move to the left and change operations. That's a positive 3n on the right, move it to the left, make it minus 3n. You need only constants on the right, so you have a 2 there that stays. Move this plus 6 over, make it minus 6. So 5n minus 3n is 2n, and 2 minus 6 is negative 4. Divide negative 4 by 2 to get an answer of negative 2. This is similar to the last problem in that you want variables on the left and constants on the right, but you have to simplify first. So distribute your 3 on the left hand side to get 3x minus 9. That minus 5 is outside the parentheses, so nothing happens to it yet. Multiply 3 by x and by negative 3. On the right side, keep the 6 and then minus. And you're going to have 4 times m, which is 4m, and then 4 times the negative 1. Now remember, you're using the entire sign here, the negative 4. So negative 4 times a negative 1 is positive 4. Now simplify still if you can. You have 3x on the left, but you have minus 9 minus 5. That's minus 14. And on the right, you have a 6 plus 4. That's going to be 10 minus 4m. Now, in all honesty, I don't know why there's an x and an m in here. These are all supposed to be x's. So just go back over and draw in an x over top of each m. That's just unexplainable why there's an m and an x in there. So now it looks a little better. You have 3x on the left, and move this minus 4x to the left, make it plus 4x. And on the right, keep the 10, and move that minus 14 over, make it plus 14. So 7x equals 24. Divide 24 by 7. 3 3/7. On the left-hand side, we'll have 12 plus 2x minus 12, and on the right, 4x plus 12. On the left, we can simplify 12 minus 12 to just get 2x. These cancel out. And on the right, we have 4x plus 12. Move that 4x to the left, change the sign, simplify to get negative 2x, and divide 12 by negative 2 to get an answer of negative 6. On the left-hand side, we need to do 2x plus 10 and then 3x minus 6. On the right, 5x minus 5. And now we'll do 2x and 3x to get 5x. 10 minus 6 is 4. And then over here we have 5x minus 5. So 5x minus 5x equals negative 5 minus 4. 0x equals a negative 9. If you did negative 9 divided by 0 and came up with 0, that is not right. 0 is not the right answer. You cannot divide by 0. If you put undefined, it would be right. Or if you look at the problem as a whole and notice that you could pick any number in there and it's not going to come out to be right. There's no number you can multiply by 0 in order to get -9. So you could put undefined or no solution. Solve for t in this formula. R equals 3 times the quantity at plus z. You must be able to isolate any given variable in any formula that you're given. So we want to get t by itself. And this isn't just a matter of dividing both sides by something and then being done with it. You're going to have to get that t out from those parentheses. So let's start with r equals, and distribute the 3 all the way through. 3at plus 3z. So now the t is out in the open somewhat. We want to get the t by itself. The first thing we have to do is get rid of this 3z. Move it to the left and change the sign. Now that t isn't by itself yet, but we're getting close. We have 3at. We want to get rid of the 3a. Right here we undid addition by subtracting. So here we're going to undo this multiplication by doing what? Dividing. And we will divide each side by what? 3a. When you do that, these cancel out and you're left with r minus 3z over 3a, and that is equal to t. Solve for q, and the formula is a equals 1/2 t times the quantity 2r minus q. We have to get that q out of those parentheses so that we can start isolating it. So let's multiply all the way through by 1/2 t. So we will have 1/2 t times 2r, and then minus 1/2 t times q. Simplify if you can. Just don't leave it a mess like that if you don't have to. What is 1/2 times 2? 1, yeah, so it's just 1, so these will cancel out. And what are you left with in that mess? T and R. Okay, over here beside that, minus 1/2 TQ. That's pretty much all we can do with that. Don't forget we're solving for Q. So to get this term by itself, what can I do with this? Move it to the left side. Okay, so A minus TR equals a negative 1/2 TQ. Now to get that Q by itself, I need to get rid of this negative 1/2 T. How can I get rid of the negative 1/2 T? Yeah, divide both sides by a negative 1/2 T. And when I do that, the negative 1/2 T's will cancel over there on the right. And that will leave us with Q. But on the left-hand side, we just can't have a fraction in the denominator. Okay, so break it apart. You can do it like this. A minus TR over 1, that's just all by itself. And times 1 over negative 1/2 T. You can break those up like that so you can see it a little more clearly. If you multiply those two fractions together, you get right back to where you started. Now, on the right-hand side, that's what we want to look at. 1 divided by a negative 1/2 over T. You can split that one up as well. That's the same as 1 over a negative 1/2 times 1 over T. Which fraction do we need to simplify? Yeah, 1 over a negative half. Okay, so let's keep the rest of this the same. If I have 1 over a negative half, that's the same thing as saying 1, instead of divided by a negative half, I'm going to multiply by a negative 2 over 1. I flip and multiply when I divide by a fraction. And then, of course, you have 1 over t. So go back through there and simplify. You have a minus tr here. You're multiplying it by 1. Does that change anything? No. But I have to multiply by a negative 2 now. So put it in parentheses. Multiply by a negative 2. And then I'm multiplying by another 1. Does that change anything? No. And what's left on the bottom? T. On this practice problem, we're solving for h, so we want to do y equals 3/4 w times x, and then minus 3/4 w times h. We're going to move the first term over to the left, change the sign to get this being left with this, and you have to divide both sides by negative 3/4 w. So over here, these cancel out, and you're left with h. And then on the right side, you're going to end up with this, or the left side, I should say. You're going to have, and don't forget, you flip and then multiply. So on the top, we're going to have a negative 4 times the quantity y minus 3/4 wx, and on the bottom, you will have a 3w.